everyone. Welcome to episode 14 of the Bloomcast. It is June 30, 2020. Last day in lockdown for Metro Manila, supposedly. We'll see, knock on wood, that it is actually the last day of lockdown. I am joined today, I should probably introduce myself. I am Luis. I'm one of the founders of BloomX. I'm joined today by Miko Ilas from Binance Filipino, Ramon Tayag, CTO of Bloom, Paulo Del Puerto, CEO of MoneyBees.ph, Coach Eman, cryptocurrency trader extraordinaire, is going to be joining us for just a short while today because he's got a very busy schedule. He's got a lot of TikTok videos he needs to get out. And joining us in the chat, Tony Reyes and Arceline, thank you for joining us. They'll be more active on the social media chat. So just like last week, we are going to give away some prizes to our viewers. This week, it's $30 in USDT that we're going to split up with three lucky viewers, and we'll pick them towards the end of the show. We might actually do something where we pick a couple of winners sometime in the middle also, just so we can spread it out a little bit. Okay, so let's get into it. So some interesting news. I kind of wish Justin was around or Israel because they could have talked a little bit about this. But so last week, some interesting news about where you could buy Bitcoin. There are now two really interesting places that you can buy Bitcoin potentially. One of them is not confirmed yet. One is PayPal. Supposedly you will soon be able to buy Bitcoin directly from inside your PayPal.com wallet. Now, this part is not completely confirmed, but there's at least several sources on YouTube. That we're talking to CoinDesk about the fact that this was definitely going to happen. So that's kind of interesting. The other thing that I thought was also really weird was that supposedly you can now buy, and this is already happening right now, if you live in Australia, you can buy Bitcoin in the post office. And I thought that was kind of weird because I'm not even sure. I didn't even know that people still went to the post office, but I guess Australia is a really big country. So they still need the postal service. They have 3,500 outlets. That is a lot of places to buy Bitcoin. But anyway, so I just thought it was kind of funny how you've got these two places suddenly announcing that they are potentially going to allow you to buy and sell Bitcoin. What do you guys think about the PayPal news though? Because this one is kind of really interesting. We were talking, Ramon, we were talking last week about how it's very possible that PayPal saw how profitable Square and Cash App were last year when they were selling Bitcoin. What do you think about, do you think that this is going to be good for the industry overall to be able to buy Bitcoin from your PayPal wallet?
I think PayPal itself being like an OTC or a supply for Bitcoin, it's not going to make a big difference. But what's really interesting is that to me, what's more interesting is that it's going to become an arms race, right? Like any company that now deals with money or FX, because PayPal does that, right? Sure. They will seriously consider looking at Bitcoin, and I hope, but also I suspect this is going to be like the blueprint of what it'll look like when one country starts getting into it also.
What do you mean? Like, how do you
like if a central bank holds some and the news leaks out, or they talk about it, then the others are all gonna start looking into it if they haven't already.
So far, no central bank has ever admitted to taking any Bitcoin positions. Although a lot of people have speculated that North Korea has a Bitcoin mining facility.
Well, I mean, I guess they wouldn't, if they were smart, they wouldn't say so, right?
They certainly.
I don't know. I'm guessing the countries that are first to try something like getting Bitcoin are probably the least transparent about what they do. So,
Right.
of course, you're not going to have, I'm guessing it's somewhere in the law, in the constitution in the US for the central bank to say, to publish everything it holds, right?
Yeah.
But not so in Iran, where they are into mining officially.
Yeah. Paolo Del Puerto, do you have any thoughts on what a world where what would that kind of world might look like, where you can buy Bitcoin from your PayPal.com wallet?
Yes, as someone mentioned, well, for me it's very interesting also. But I don't think it's going to be a big dent. But at least it's going to pave the way, for adoption, right? Of different companies as well, especially big companies such as PayPal, right, accepting it. And I think it would also transition to paying with Bitcoin, right? It's not just buying Bitcoin. Probably this is the first step, but the next step is really them accepting Bitcoin payments, and then the merchant receives it in their preferred fiat, right? So it makes it, and then after that, I think it's going to transition to I just want to accept Bitcoin as payment. So there, right? So it's a good step, right? It's a good step.
Yeah. Miko Ilas, do you think that if PayPal eventually does do this, would what kind of does that mean that you could finally use PayPal to fund your Binance wallet? That would be kind of amazing, no? Technically, because if you can buy Bitcoin from PayPal, you can send that Bitcoin to Binance to fund your Binance wallet. So technically, now you're using PayPal.
Right? Yeah, and then with PayPal's history, they're gonna freeze your account, right?
Yeah. Miko Ilas, in Binance, you guys have just turned on, just in the last couple of weeks, no, the credit card purchasing. Was that just recently? Did I get that right? Or
last week actually, we turned on. You can buy crypto on Binance directly using Visa, credit, and debit cards.
Yeah.
So the rollout was gradual. We started in Europe, US, and then we added Asia later in the week. So everyone is testing it naman na. And we're getting some volume from that as well.
You guys have some kind of cashback promo going on?
Yeah, we had the promo cashback. So it's just a matter of so when you buy crypto, of course, you're gonna have fees as well because of the card use. But we gave out 2% cashback last week.
Wow.
I think it ended today. It ended today.
Oh, really? That's too bad.
Yeah,
it's funny because 2% cashback is the highest cashback. Well, my credit card doesn't give me 2% cashback. It doesn't give me anywhere near 2% cashback. Yeah. So that's pretty generous.
That's interesting, no? Credit card, Bitcoin, and usually kasi diba, chargebacks are the biggest issue there.
Yeah.
Especially for merchants. Right?
Yeah. So what's the policy for Binance there? Yeah. You guys holding the crypto that they buy until mag-clear yung funds or something?
Well, quick lang naman yung from what I know, quick lang naman yung transaction involving credit card. So once the transaction is complete naman, once you get your card charged, you get crypto on Binance.
Yeah, I think that there's the reason why a lot of exchanges don't try that is because they're afraid of what happens when the customer then tries to do a chargeback, or they try to parang contest the charge on their credit card. They say, "Oh, that wasn't me," or whatever. That wasn't me who sent $1,000 to Binance. So you might have I think that was what Paolo was asking.
Yeah, that's right. Well, in my experience in e-commerce, usually chargebacks are a headache.
The most expensive part of the process actually is the chargeback. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
Plus the penalties.
This is an early
charge.
Well, since this is an early part of this is an early launch naman, so we're gonna try to deal with the cashbacks and case to case, chargebacks on a case to case basis, and I believe that our support team already has something
Okay.
in the works naman to address that. But let's
Okay.
see what comes up in the next coming days.
Okay. Speaking of cashback, so I think Wirecard wants their cashback. A little bit more developments on what's happening with Wirecard. And I kind of wanted to, we didn't really give enough context last week kasi about exactly what was going on with Wirecard. And a lot of people probably don't even know exactly who Wirecard is. So I just wanted to just quick context why this Wirecard thing is such a big deal. So number one, Wirecard is basically the most important fintech company in Germany. They're about 2 decades old now. So they're not young naman, but they're a really, really important fintech company. In fact, they are considered a blue chip stock. And what that means is it's like here in the Philippines, our blue chip stocks are PLDT and Ayala, right? So Wirecard is that important to the German both economy and industry and stock market. Now, for them to lose $2 billion, very big deal. And it seems like they've been kind of hiding the fact that they lost that money. In fact, we're not even sure if they really did have it. And again, to put it into context, that $2 billion that they have somehow misplaced, that is the equivalent of the last 10 years worth of their revenue. So it is as if their company made nothing for the last 10 years if that money is not located. And it looks like it's never going to be found because it looks like it didn't actually exist. So this little news that was added to the whole scandal last week was that they were talking to this guy, this lawyer who works in Makati, Mark Tolentino, and they were trying to kind of make it look like he was the person who had the funds and he doesn't know anything about it. So I thought that was a really interesting development. I kind of wish we had a lawyer on the panel now. No, on hindsight.
Well, based on what I read, it seems like it's they don't really have the money. It's just it's sort of like a Ponzi scheme, right? That they have liabilities and then they get money in. And it's not a Ponzi scheme. I mean, it looks like it, right? Because apparently they don't have the money.
Right.
So
yeah, and as with many other things that are parang once the trust of the public is gone, this is what happens. No, so at the start of June, the Wirecard stock was trading at about $100, and as of yesterday, it's about $1. So it's lost $99 of 99% of its value. So basically, all trust is gone, and the president, I believe, was arrested. He's out on bail, but his bail was like 5 million euros or something like that. So it's a pretty big deal. Now, it's actually already also had some kind of effect even on the crypto industry. So last week when we were talking about it, we were talking kind of theoretically. Now, all of this stuff is going to have an effect on regulation, right? Because it's going to make all of the regulators more strict, all of the auditors are going to be more strict, et cetera, et cetera. But it's already had a very specific effect in the crypto industry as of a few days ago. So Crypto.com is one of the kind of businesses that are able to issue these very, very pretty looking metal cards. So they're a Visa or a MasterCard metal card. They're debit cards, and if you spend them, it will draw against your Crypto.com wallet, which could be Bitcoin, which could be Ethereum, could be any number of things. And they were backed by Wirecard. They were using Wirecard technology in order to make those cards work. So Wirecard is kind of a big payments gateway kasi, so that's why they were able to get this partnership working. So as of a couple of days ago, they had to issue a notice on their site saying that we have just been requested to stop all activity on our card programs in the UK and Europe, and I assume in Singapore also, because Singapore is kind of where most of the investigations actually even happening on the Asia side. So they're not going to be able to use their cards anymore. So it's not just crypto.com. There's this other project also called 10x out of Singapore, who is also working with Wirecard, and all of their cards have now stopped.
What a nightmare! Also. It's like you build your system completely reliant on some other business, and that business goes down, and you're screwed.
Yeah. And honestly, the reason why Wirecard was kind of the provider that these guys used was because they were so easy to work with, supposedly.
I think they're other except high risk, right?
Yeah, so that's the other thing too. Actually, this was something I didn't know until very recently. So one of the reasons why Wirecard started managing such large funds so quickly was because they were one of the few people who were willing to work with gambling platforms and also pornography. So and unfortunately, something else was going on, and they couldn't get their accounting sorted out or something. Anyway, so we're gonna continue to see the fallout of this. My biggest concern really is that if the Philippines comes out of this situation kind of in a bad light, like if they made it seem like the money was lost in the Philippines somehow, that's not a great story for foreign investments. It's not a great story for expats who want to build legitimate businesses here. So that's kind of another angle that I don't know.
Well, but don't you think also that it's a big it has a big effect on payments in general, I think, right? Because some payment company as big as Wirecard, fell like this, right? What more for the others, right? So maybe regulators will look more into payments, and maybe it can also pave the way of being a little bit more transparent, maybe do payments through blockchain or something like that. Right?
Well, I mean, it was certainly a transparency problem. Right? I mean,
exactly, because they don't have the money. They say they have it, but apparently they don't have it, right? So there's no way to track where it is, where it went, right? So it's a good case for having some sort of transparency to check if these guys are really saying what they have, what they have.
Yeah, I think so too, actually. Yeah. I mean, I'm not sure exactly that we would be able to, but oh man, because like the last thing I want is for people to say, you should have done those payments on blockchain. And then you actually try to do like billions of dollars worth of payments on the blockchain. That's hindi pala kaya. I don't know. It's just, but I do feel like
it's somehow at least paves the way, or at least people will take a look at maybe applying it on the blockchain or something.
Yeah. I hope so. I hope there's some kind of silver lining to this, because at the moment it's looking pretty grim for these guys. Okay. Oh, speaking of grim. So last week we were at 9,600 when the show ended. Today we're at, I think it's 9,150-ish. Coach Eman, are you going to explain to us what happened? You weren't around last week, so I had to read your comments. I didn't do a very good job.
Sorry.
No, it's fine. Do you wanna do you wanna share? Or
yes.
what?
Share ako. Share ako on screen.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so kita na ba yung screen ko?
Yes.
And it seems okay na. So last time, meron akong analysis na pinost. So this was around June 22, 2020, and so ito yung analysis natin before, and it's very apparent na valid pa rin siya. So kung i-compare natin yung before and after niya, sabi ko dito is do not trade against range. And sad to say, syempre, marami din kasing mga trader ngayon who are participating, pero if we're going to look at our recent chart plus yung market cap, sobrang laking bagay kasi ng coin market cap eh.
Oh, okay.
For those who doesn't know how to use CoinMarketCap, all you need to do is always pay attention kung ilan yung volume na nadadagdag sa market natin. Kasi if there's no volume and there's no one helping us to push the price higher, especially ngayon, so etong drawing natin na to is dito. So ang conclusion natin dyan, the more it is remembered, yung ganyang resistance, mas mataas yung likelihood na mas naalala siya. So, people who are trading inside this range, they are very cautious na, nasa resistance na ako, which ang trabaho ng resistance is to push the price lower. So, they will definitely pull out. So, participants lang yun. So, regarding to sa discussion nyo earlier, regarding sa for example, yung sa Bitcoin.com, tama ba? Bitcoin.com.
Which one?
Ayun. Yung regarding sa German.
Wirecard.
Yeah, so Wirecard. Ayun. So, pag may mga ganung news, let's say, may factor din kasi when it comes to price action, it's all about the emotions of the participants. So, if they're really excited about, let's say, crypto or sa Bitcoin, and then nakita nila na people are starting to adapt. So, for example, ano ba yung nangyari these past few days? Hindi kasi ako nababasa ng news pero there's one significant
Yung sa PayPal. Yung sa PayPal.
Ayun, sa PayPal. Ayun, for example, sa PayPal. Yeah. So, by the way guys, if you're trading tapos nagbabasa kayo ng news, hindi ko recommend yun. Pero
really?
If you are looking for the sentiment kung ano mangyayari sa price, siguro price action muna before the news. Okay? Kasi once you follow the news, huli ka na. Diba?
Right.
Nandun na sila. Ikaw na yung bumibili ng binibenta nila. So that's how it works.
Okay. Got it.
So, regarding to sa PayPal, so merong adoption. Pero just like what Pao and Ramon Tag is saying earlier, now, okay siya for paving the way para, alam mo yun, magkaroon tayo ng let's say, parang intro na, okay, this is Bitcoin. Nagiging regulated na siya. And then, nagiging popular na siya sa masses. Ginagamit na siya sa corporate. And that's how it start. Pero pagdating dun sa price action, possible na hindi mo na siya maging align sa sentiment ng tao. Because, again, we still possible na hindi pa na full internalize ng tao na, so, yan pala yung Bitcoin. And if we're going to compare yung sentiment natin during 2017 and 2018, hindi siya, alam mo yun, super excited na, okay, Bitcoin, if someone posted na, for example, si JP Morgan, nag-post sila na, okay, yung Bitcoin maging bubble yan, di ba? People are so angry na, hindi, tataas to. That's why, isa yun sa malaking factor kung bakit tumataas yung price. Pero with this kind of price action, yan, medyo cautious tayo dahil price will, ito na yung literal na papatayin ka talaga niya inside this this movement. Okay, so kung Luis, di ba may sinad ako sa'yo last time?
Yeah, I read some of it. I said, what's up? And then, what else did I do?
Okay, so
I said some other things.
Yeah. Ayun, so yung when it comes to technical analysis, the same pa rin yung analysis natin since nasa range. So if we're going to trade this or if you're looking to cost average Bitcoin, again, not financial advice, hindi ko nire-recommend ngayon. Pero siguro small amount, but again, ang goal dito dapat, it doesn't hurt you kung mag-invest ka or bumagsak man yung price. So, meron kasing mga tao na they are solely focused on, kumbaga yung mentality nila na accumulate lang ng Bitcoin. USD or USDT doesn't matter. May mga ganun eh. So, current price natin is still at 9,140. Ito yung current price natin. Tapos, we still have a resistance at 9,800. So, itong 10,000, babad na tayo dyan. So, unless we return at 9,600 level, dito tayo magstay at this level na to, sa level na to, may chance tayo na makabreak sa level na to. And then, same analysis, we might attempt to have a reach of 11,000 to 11,100. So, pero pag nagka-breakdown, kailangan meron din tayong bearish side. May potential low tayo may another potential low tayo pag na-break to. itong 8.8, no? So anticipate na natin, sabihin natin mabe-break na siya kasi babad na rin siya dito sa 236. It means humihina na yung buyers. So isa pang bonus na ibibigay ko for tonight kasi mabilis lang mabilis lang yung stay ko dito. Isang bonus is that meron tayong tinatawag na price behavior, yung mga angles and slope nila. So during this price action, if compare natin siya sa price action nito, yung direction ng lows, okay, so ito yung lows natin, lows and lows and lows. Very aggressive yung higher lows niya.
Okay.
Higher lows dahil most of the people are thinking na, uy, sobrang mura na yan. Okay, kung i-compare mo sa past, during June 2019, doon siya nag-umpisa. So, very aggressive yung mga tao dito. And kung titingnan natin yung angle ng low niya, is sobrang steep unlike dito sa direction natin dito. Ayan, alisin ko lang. Ayan, so if compare natin, mas steep to. Dito medyo nagkakaroon na sila ng...
Right.
Yes. So that's our analysis for this week. So always, lang guys, trade responsibly, and then this is not financial advice.
Aldrin Rabino in the chat is saying, actually, I don't understand his comments. I'm just gonna read it na lang.
Okay.
So he's saying breakout uptrend PA and RSI, and then plotting fibs from lows to highs on daily for retracements. I don't understand a word of that.
Okay. So, ang sinasabi niya is break from the RSI is ito. Ayan. So, this is our relative strength indicator. So, it gauges strength in the market kung may momentum pa ba yung mga buyers. So, since nag-break na tong 50 level, yes.
Yeah.
So, pag may line kasi may area kasi itong RSI, ito yung 50. So, pag lumagpas dyan yung, technically pag lumagpas dyan yung line, it means nasa bearish area na. So dito, up and down siya sa 50, pero ito, for me, this is really valid na nasa ilalim na talaga siya ng 50.
Okay.
And yung sinabi ni Aldrin, from high to low, ito yung sinasabi niya earlier. For retracement daw. So which is also yung ginawa din natin kanina, yung Fibonacci, pagpa-plot ng Fibonacci to identify kung hanggang saan yung next retracement. So from here, possible 8K.
I see.
Bababa. Pero kung tataas, ayan, first attempt with 11.
Okay. Bro, before you go, you had a tab open kanina about some TikTok news that we need to share with this, like a public service announcement to all the TikTok fans. Nandun siya dun sa tab mo, dun sa CoinMarketCap tab. You can just go back.
Ito. Ayan.
Okay. So this is very important. I wish I had put this in the show notes. So there's a possibility that TikTok could be snooping on your Bitcoin addresses. So, and this is ano lang naman. Let's explain it a little bit, no? So what they're actually doing is they're checking kasi kung ano yung laman ng clipboard mo on your phone. And your clipboard is what happens when you copy something, diba? And we're always copying Bitcoin addresses. Always, 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 right? Because that's how we're sharing our address with someone. We usually click copy and then we paste it into a chat. So it's possible that TikTok is looking at that. Granted, that's probably going to just be your public key. Hopefully, hindi mo naman sinishare sa chat yung private key mo. Hopefully you've watched the show enough times to know that that's a very dangerous and silly thing to do.
Yes. I-delete ko na yung TikTok ko. I-remove ko na.
So what you can do na lang, just buy another phone. No, so you buy another phone, just buy a TikTok phone. So you have your phone na pang TikTok and your phone for basically everything else.
Hindi na. Okay na ako dun.
Okay. So anyway, I thought that was kind of important news. Just ano lang, honestly.
Important yun, actually important yun.
The whole TikTok thing, I don't understand why there's so much bad news about it right now. Like there's so many articles about yung security issues niya, the fact that it's spying on you.
Ayun na eh.
I guess na parang yung nung nauso yung Zoom nung umpisa ng lockdown, like sobrang daming articles about how the security protocol is very bad and blah blah blah, mahahack ka. And now the TikTok is basically the biggest app on the internet. Naging
Correct.
Parang ganun din
Correct.
siya. Did you have thoughts on this one?
Yeah. You know, as a someone that's for many justify to the upper management that security should be focused on, right? Because it's like insurance. It's like, oh, we don't need that until something bad really happens,
Right.
And it's unfortunate because, like I'm guessing they do gain some advantage, and when because they get an advantage, they become more popular. We use them. We then end up leaking information we don't need to leak to them or need to share with them, and they become a honeypot for that data. Like even if they're completely innocent about it, and whether or not they're innocent or malicious, rather, that's a different topic. Pero like they become a target for hackers.
Yep, that is the truth.
So when you know for the security conscious, especially like the companies that put extra effort into making their stuff secure, like Apple, right? You know, like I guess it's good. It's good. I think it's good that they're a market leader in what they do. So that well, for now, right?
What do you think, Pao?
Yeah. Well, we have a cybersecurity company as well. So I agree. Yeah, Secuna. I agree with Mon. There's almost 95%, I would think, of companies don't treat security very seriously, until they get hacked. And usually targets are mga ganyan. Of course, if you get famous, you get big, hackers will target you, right? But here in the Philippines, then we've seen in just June 21, 25 schools have been hacked na, right? So it's not just companies, it's even schools, right? Yeah, indeed. I mean, it's really not a top priority, whereas it needs to be top priority. So, and even as we launched what we call a coordinated vulnerability disclosure assistance. This just means that when an ethical hacker, meaning this is a white hat hacker, someone who does research, security research on the side, right? They look for vulnerabilities to come in companies, and they report it to companies in an ethical way because they want the companies to secure their app. For the sake of the users, we have this program. But thing is, companies even don't see this as an illegal activity, right? So let's say, for example, a blue chip company has a vulnerability, and then an ethical hacker tries to report to them so that it can be fixed. The usual reaction of the company is, "Oh, we'll sue you because you tested our system, you found a vulnerability."
They just need to be, they just need to be educated properly about the fact that actually it's better for you na buti nga ni-report niya, diba? So,
exactly. And actually, in the US, there are a lot of companies that do bug bounty. Right?
Facebook is
so Apple
massive.
does that.
Yeah, Apple.
Facebook. And some other startups as well, and the government, US government, right? So. That type of thinking needs to be put here. Right?
Coach, do you need to bounce now, or are you gonna show us your final TikTok video?
I'm looking for it.
Dude, your final TikTok videos on Decrypt? Wow, that's pretty cool.
Naghanap ako ng bagong concept eh.
Okay.
Baka mag-paint ako.
Yeah,
dude.
50 Ether. It's free money. Okay, bro. Thanks so much.
Thank you guys.
Yeah, we'll see you again next week.
Luis. Bye, guys.
Thanks, bro.
Right.
Okay, so I'm just gonna bring us back to that layout. Finally getting used to this whole show layout thing. Okay, so I think as a quick segue, we should do one raffle while we're in the middle of the show. Just do one quick raffle. Need to get my, there we go, and start. Here we go. Jan is the name of the winner. If you are in the chat, can you say hi? Because I kind of have a hard time looking finding you in the comments. It's kind of a lot there. Anyway, please say hi. I will try to tag you na lang or something. Okay, there you go. All right, so now we can move on. Go back to the show, and there you go. Okay, so the Bloom School topic for this week is actually requested by one of our friends of the company. His name's JP. He's been trading with us for a few months now, always Bitcoin, and he wanted to. He was asking me, like, what is this whole ERC20 thing? What is it something that I should be investing in? I don't really know where to begin. So what we want to do for the next 15 minutes or so, just kind of give you everyone on the chat, give you a refresher of what ERC20 actually is, what the various tokens are, and maybe just give you some general thoughts on again, this is the part where it's not supposed to be financial advice, but we're going to give you our opinions anyway. And I will already warn you right now, our opinions will not agree, because I'm sure we have very different opinions about these things. So first things first, what does ERC even mean? So the E is obviously Ethereum. So ERC20 is an Ethereum thing. RC means request for comment. So because Ethereum is a collaborative work, you have all of these people around the world who are working together to build Ethereum. Whenever you want to propose a new feature, you have to request for comment. And because there's so many of these requests for comments, they just put numbers on it. I believe the number is like at 2,000 plus right now. But ERC20 was one of the very early ones. And this particular proposal was a way to use Ethereum to create tokens on the Ethereum blockchain. And what that means is, so, Ethereum itself has its own currency, Ether, right? But what they decided that they wanted to be able to allow people to do was they wanted to be able to allow people to create their own currency on top of the Ethereum blockchain. And that's actually possible because, Ethereum is a programmable blockchain, so you can actually create a currency. So the ERC20 format, you can think about it like a format. It's kind of like, Word documents or PDFs or something. It's just a format. It's a set of rules. It actually allows you to define how your currency is issued, obviously what it's called first, what it's called, how to issue it, how to manage balances, how to transfer various amounts of that token. You can define it all using the ERC20 set of rules. You can literally create your own currency in about 5 minutes. I've actually tried this myself. That's not an exaggeration. It takes about 5 minutes to do it. And as you can probably imagine, if everyone can create a currency in 5 minutes, lots and lots of people will create currencies, right? Because it's so easy. Yeah, so why not? I'll just make my own thing. I was gonna make a Binance token. There actually is a Binance token, pala. Anyway, I can make a money B coin if I wanted to, and it would take me 5 minutes. I would just call it money bees, right? It's so easy to do it. Of course, it doesn't necessarily mean that just because I've created my own currency, it doesn't mean that it has value, right? Because that's different. ERC20 is just a way for you to create tokens and define a supply of that token. So, if you want to create a version of Bitcoin, you can say, "Oh, my currency only has 21 million units," right? So you can do that, but it doesn't have a value. In order for it to have a value, you actually have to trade it on a market. You have to get it onto a exchange like Binance or maybe a smaller one at the start. If no one knows who you are, I don't think Binance is going to take you. But like, you actually have to convince people that your currency has value. And that's harder than it looks, right? So it's just easy to create the tokens, but it's much, much harder to create the actual value. And I guess this is the part where I kind of wanted to just do a quick definition lang. We say coins and tokens, and sometimes we kind of say it interchangeably on this show, but they're actually different things, no? So when you say token, you're talking about something that was built on an existing blockchain. So Tether USDT is one of the examples of that. So they don't have their own blockchain. They are using an existing blockchain, right? So Tether uses the Ethereum blockchain. It also uses the Bitcoin blockchain. And lastly, it uses the Tron blockchain. But it doesn't have its own blockchain. So it's just a token. 0x is another one. Then when we say coins, these are the currencies that are actually native to a blockchain, right? So so that's like Bitcoin or Ethereum itself, or Ether, I should say. Those are the ones that are native to a blockchain. So you can create tokens on Ethereum because that is kind of one of the things Ethereum is most well known for. But all of the other, not naman all, pero quite a few of the other blockchains can do the same thing. So you can create them on Bitcoin. You can create tokens on EOS, on Ripple, on Stellar, on Cardano. So it just so happened that Ethereum was the one that kind of really popularized it because they made it so easy. But Bitcoin has had that feature since before Ethereum was actually created, no? Because that's why we have Tether. Because Tether was kind of one of those coins that was built on top of, one of the tokens that was built on top of the Bitcoin blockchain. I don't know if you guys have any thoughts on this slide. Anyone? Okay, just gonna move on really quick. We actually have a couple of questions. Okay, hold on. Okay, so these are some examples of ERC20 tokens, and there are many, many, many examples of them. Like I said, it's super easy to make one. So it's actually, making the token is actually the easiest part. The hardest part is marketing it, giving it value, giving it some kind of reason for its existence. No, you can't just put money out there and expect people to trust it. You have to build that somehow. So the nice thing about ERC20 tokens is that because they're all built on Ethereum, the wallet support is actually pretty good. No? So if you have MetaMask, which is kind of one of the most popular Ethereum wallets, if you have Trust, which is a wallet that Binance acquired, you can very easily store all of these tokens there. In fact, just to kind of drive the point home, on Binance, if you look at your deposit address, all of the ERC20 tokens actually just go to the same deposit address because they're all built on top of Ethereum, and Binance just figures out, okay, he sent me, what are these logos? DAI or 0x or OMG. It just kind of figures it out.
I want to clarify something.
Sure, please.
Like ERC20 is essentially a standard, right? It's it's like a smart contract standard that says you have to have these like functions where you can send from your contract to some other contract, you can receive, etc. And that's how these exchanges and wallets all understand ERC20. It's like they build it in. But if someone, ERC 2000, and it doesn't look like ERC20, then the exchanges and wallets will not be able to understand
Correct.
it.
Correct. Yeah. That's exactly right. Sorry, I guess I should have been more clear there. You're right, Mon. The reason why Trust Wallet and MetaMask and all of that stuff can figure it out is because they follow a very, very specific standard. We have some questions here in the chat, actually. How to trade ERC20 tokens without hassle, especially that most ERC20 tokens are not listed in exchanges. So it kind of depends on which exchanges you're talking about. Because like on Binance, all of the important ERC20 tokens are definitely listed. I think you could say the same for Bittrex and Poloniax.
And that's somehow how you get the price, right? You don't have a market. You don't have a market price. So.
Yeah.
Right. Sorry, Miko, you were gonna say something?
We acknowledge that importance is subjective. So if they want, there's always a marketplace for a lot of these ERC20 tokens. Sometimes you could go to a decentralized exchange and then just post an order there and then hope someone with the same coin as you would trade with you.
Right. Sorry. So we've never actually defined what a decentralized exchange is, but I guess we'll just do really quick lang. A centralized exchange is Binance, Bitstamp, Kraken, Poloniax, etc. A decentralized one is an exchange where literally buyers and buyers and sellers are just being matched by an algorithm or a program. They don't know each other and they don't have to give IDs. They don't have anything like that. So Binance actually also has a decentralized exchange, right? You guys also have that also. So it has the Binance brand name, but I assume that means you don't identify yourself, no, when you're trading on the Binance DEX.
Yeah, you just link your wallet in and then trade whatever's in it, and then just create an order.
So if you
no need for accounts.
Right. So if you want to trade a really, really exotic ERC20 token that is not on the centralized Binance, it's possible that you might be able to find someone to trade with in the decentralized Binance.
Probably not Binance DEX, because Binance DEX has its own blockchain as well. So one thing I want to discuss as well. So Binance started as an ERC20 token when it started its
BNB.
BNB, right? BNB. Started its ICO before. So it started as an ERC20 token with the goal of eventually building its own blockchain. So after 2 years, we were able to build our own blockchain, which is Binance Chain, and which supports Binance DEX. A lot of the major cryptos right now started that way as an ERC20 token, who eventually was able to scale out, develop their infrastructure, develop their team on their technology, and then they're able to build their own blockchains as well. So I guess the question about whether you want to invest in ERC20 tokens is if that ERC20 token looks like it has its own, it's well on its way to becoming its own blockchain anyway. So that could be also a good measure that a certain project within the ERC20 field is developing well, I guess.
Right. In the chat, one of the, what's the name? Ian is saying that the other DEXs you could look at are Ether Delta. Actually, Ether Delta is the one that I first discovered. That's a pretty. I would say that that's a very. That's definitely for advanced users. It's not an easy site to use. In fact, a lot of the decentralized exchanges are a little bit more advanced in my opinion, because you have to have generally you need to have your MetaMask or your Ether wallet kind of figured out before you trade there. So it's a little bit harder lang for newbies. And honestly, if you are going to those types of places because you are looking for something super exotic, I'm already kind of wondering why you're looking at such an exotic coin in the first place. Because if it was, I think one of the first indications that something is worth investing in is that it's been accepted by a larger group. It's not just like a very, very small group of people that are trading it. So anyway, that's the opinion part, I guess. Sorry, that was this was the last slide, and I guess kind of Miko was already kind of talking about it. So the question that a lot of people ask me is that, are these ERC20 tokens good investments? I'm just gonna go back and show you the logos again, because I didn't even bother to tell you what they were. So this is Chainlink, this is Cosmos, this is Omisigo or OMG, people like to call it that. 0x, and then DAI. DAI is the stablecoin. Both OMG and 0x are trying to do some kind of decentralized exchange platform. They're tokens for those types of things. Cosmos and Chainlink, I am unfortunately not as familiar with them. So if people in the chat know about Chainlink or Cosmos, please sound off. I'll read your comment if you can explain it like in a short way. So going back to the question, are ERC20 tokens good investments? My personal thoughts on this are that I think that there's a lot of promises out there, and I think that lots of businesses kind of make these big promises because they know that if they are very loud and they're very visible, they can get people to buy their token, and it creates an excitement in the market, and then the token price goes up. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that they are good business people. And let's not forget that the whole point of this is you're trying to build something that's actually useful. So, try not to focus too much on kind of what the price is doing. Try to focus a little bit more on, does the team, the organization, or the foundation that's doing this, issuing these ERC20 tokens, try to focus on that and see if they look like they know what they're doing. Because if they're not, that price is going to be very temporary, even if it looks like it's going up really, really fast. No, that's just going to be a very temporary spike. And so that's my opinion. I don't know what you guys. I don't know if you want to add a little bit more to what you said earlier, Nico.
Yeah, I think
Nico, there's also a question here about when a project is on Binance, does that automatically mean it's legitimate?
Wow, that's a good question.
It's a chicken or egg question, actually. Of course, what I can say, of course, is that with Binance naman, with all we receive hundreds, if not thousands, of coin applications. And I think the batting average right now is less than 2% of these applications are even being considered. Okay. So just speaks to the amount of the sheer amount of selection of filtering that we do. So I can't speak for every other exchange, but I think for we would do our best to be able to do due diligence in when it comes to a certain token. It might reach even months of study, months of talking with these teams or these crypto startups in terms of their credibility and their long-term vision. And so this would make us more confident in saying that the tokens we offer on Binance would more often than not become our tokens that are being built upon are being backed by credible teams. But of course, we have different standards for that. I mean, I know of other exchanges that have listed probably hundreds more tokens than us because they have a different standard as well. I know of other exchanges that are sticking with just 12, 14 tokens because they feel that those are the only 14 tokens that are worth listing. So it depends actually on, but yeah. As far as Binance is concerned, we believe that the 200 or so tokens that we have there are legit. So
in the chat, Raf Tariala is saying that Chainlink is a project that aims to build bridges between payment services like PayPal. Okay, so there you go. That's how it connects to the rest of the show. So
I thought I looked on that, and it was more to do with DeFi, decentralized.
It's definitely decentralized finance coin. Hey, Mark. By the way, sorry, I forgot to.
By the way, Cosmos is it's been around for a while, and they're basically connecting different blockchains together. Because the problem is when you want to move or do anything between different blockchains, they don't.
Inter-blockchain.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay. Yeah, that's what Ian in the chat is saying. Cosmos, the ticker is Atom. It's for independent blockchains. and interoperability. Okay, yeah. So it's basically that problem where blockchains can't talk to each other. Okay, interesting.
I think connecting to different payment gateways and stuff, that's probably the area of Stellar. Stellar is probably best place to do that more than anyone else.
Right. Sorry, Miko, were you done with your thought about the question? Okay, all right. Wow, what about you? What are your thoughts on this question?
ERC20 being a good, ERC20 tokens. Well, that became the base of ICOs, right? Most of ICOs back then,
99% of them,
99% of them was made out of a 5-minute procedure, right?
Yeah.
That's like you mentioned, and then they just get backed up by very loud people, and then they pay celebrities just to market it. So just be wary of that. Just keep that in mind, right? That not all ICOs are all tokens. Suddenly become valuable because these celebrities back them up, right? It's one thing them endorsing it, it's another thing they really will actually use it. And we see a lot of overlaps and redundancies in this ISOs, and I really can't understand why some people still, invest a lot in certain tokens, right? That just look like very hyped up tokens.
You said 99%. 99% of all ICOs are not worth the paper they're written on, and I think I read some today.
Yeah.
Some
Jason Calacanis.
Yeah. That's the guy. Well, it's going to have make a difference.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's kind of what happens when you make it really, really easy to build something, right? It's kind of like how, talk about how old I am. 15 years ago, WordPress made it easy to make a blog. So not suddenly everyone had a blog. YouTube, made it really easy to have your own video channel, your own video streaming service. So now everyone has their own video streaming service. And I guess I could say the same thing for Zoom and OBS, the software that we're using, right? We're one of those people who have taken advantage of the fact that the technology is so easy now. It's so easy to use. It's very straightforward. It's practically free. So why not make our own educational web show?
Yeah, was it democratization of news, information, and value? Yeah. But that doesn't mean that everything is good.
Yes. And that is kind of the saddest part about, well, I guess the whole WordPress thing. But 10 million blogs out there, there's probably 100,000 that are really good. So whatever.
Yeah, social media made everyone a source of news, right? So
right, some more famous than others. For no reason except to be famous.
Right. Mark, did you have any thoughts on this question?
I wasn't here with the question. What was the question?
Oh, so the question. Oh, I'm sorry. You can't see the slides. The question.
After, so.
Yeah. So the slides. Well, it's just this one question that one of our customers was asking me. He was asking, are ERC20 tokens good investments? It was kind of a very general.
Oh, that's the same.
Question.
Yeah, that's the same for. Is a share? Shares in companies a good investment? Is anything a good investment? If you look at it, look at the team behind it. This is the whole thing about ICOs. If it's transparent, if you understand the idea and you can say, well, I understand how that makes money and how it's going to be used, then it might be a good investment. If you don't understand it, don't invest in it. That goes for shares in companies or anything else. I was looking, you're talking about how easy it is to make tokens. I was exploring BCH today, Bitcoin Cash. And in their wallet, they make it like a few seconds and a few pennies, really literally a few pennies. You could make your own token, not token, but coin that exists inside BCH. It doesn't need another token to spend. It's easier to make tokens these days, but that doesn't mean they have any value.
Right. Yeah, so I think that was also kind of the point I was making. The hard part is giving it value.
Adding value,
Yeah, right. Do you think, actually, because I just wanted to just drill down a little bit on something you said. You said that if you don't understand something, don't invest in it.
Right.
I think that the challenge for crypto projects is that most of it is incomprehensible, right? Especially if
I never invested in any because I didn't understand the principle behind it. And if I have someone come to pitch an idea to me, I've got to understand the business model. It's not that I'm stupid. It's just, sometimes it just didn't make any sense, and they were putting jargon out there to try and bedazzle you. And when you get down to it, there's no business model. It's not sustainable. So
do you think that? Yeah. So I guess my question is, okay. So if you're a scammer type and you just want to have this really shiny new coin or token or whatever, you'll just kind of throw out the most complicated jargon ever so that people will not understand.
And most importantly, you'll say it'll make you 100% a day.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah. Oh, that's a given. Yeah, that's just crypto, right? But like, I guess my concern is, what if you were an actual legitimate organization, and unfortunately, it really is a complicated thing.
Then you find experts that know the technology inside out, and they give you your, it's supposed to be done by ICO reviews where they tell you whether it's good or not. But really, if you're going to invest a lot of money as a company, then you really need to find people you trust to understand the ideas, and they can tell you it's good or bad, or they can explain, they can break down the ideas and say, this is what it really does if you don't understand.
Right. Okay. So we just got our very first correction from the chat. Thank you, Arnel, and thank you, Ken James. They were correcting me that Cosmos is not ERC20. They actually do have their own blockchain. So
it's an infrastructure to link other blockchains together using their blockchain. Yeah.
Okay. So I stand corrected. I guess I should have done a little bit more research on that. And that is kind of why you should not believe everything that you see on the internet. You should also do your own homework.
These days.
But thank you for the correction, guys.
Yeah, you could create an ERC20 token of anything. But again, even if you say, like, I've created an ERC token for money, does that give it value? You got to look at what's behind it.
Yeah. You know what I was reminded of with that quote. One of my favorite ERC20 tokens is the useless Ethereum token.
And it made a lot of money.
And they made like $300,000. I mean, they just explicitly stated that, hey, I'm not going to do anything with this token. I just created this.
I'm going to buy a 46-inch TV, I think he said.
Don't buy this. And apparently the guy still got
So back in the days when apps were kind of the most important thing, there was an app on the Apple App Store, like the most expensive app in the world, right? Exactly. And it was like several $1,000s. You could only buy one, right? Yeah. And it did nothing. It was just an icon on your screen.
It's a collectible.
Yeah, I mean, I guess so, but like, so people do stupid things like this, and somehow other people give them money, and that's just kind of
weird. That's rare. People will pay for,
Yeah, I think that was $5,000, and I think 5 people bought it.
Amazing,
right?
Really,
for an icon.
It's just really, when you open the app, it just says, I think it's I'm rich because I was able to buy this or something like that.
Yeah.
And that's just it. Yeah. Just one page.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know what the lesson there is. I don't think
what's
there's
the difference between that and buying the Mona Lisa,
I mean, there's a lot. What do you mean?
Actually, if we go there, who dictates the value of the painting?
Right. I mean, it's a completely legitimate transaction.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I'm not arguing about the fact that it was a legitimate transaction. It was completely legitimate because Apple made its 30% on that $5,000 purchase. That's how you know it was legitimate. But with the Mona Lisa, like, come on, I take issue with that. Like, geez.
You're getting into the realms of non-fungible tokens and stuff that you can actually say, I own it, whereas opposed to stuff you pay for that really. You might own it, but people are gambling on you buying it.
Depends on the people see you in the long run.
Oh, look. So Aldrin Rabina in the chat is correcting me again. This is like one more correction. So Chainlink was previously ERC20. Oh, I guess this is what you said earlier.
Yeah.
But before they migrated into mainnet, and that became their own blockchain. Okay, cool. All right. So I guess my information was slightly out of date there. Okay. Fine. Mon, did you have any thoughts about this question? I know that you're not a big fan of the whole Erc20
yeah,
thing.
I guess, I mean, not in a... It's because it's just so complicated, right?
Mhm.
For a lot of them, like they don't need the rest of what Ethereum has to offer.
Okay.
And if you want to make a token, you're probably better off doing it in something like Stellar.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But it's really mostly because there's just so much out there that I can't pay attention anymore.
Yeah.
So I've consciously stopped paying attention to almost everything out there.
I think that I value your opinion as a curmudgeonly Bitcoin maximalist, because you will look at all of these projects from
that's
that
why.
lens, and we need that perspective, because we can't all just be like, so I know, and I say, obviously I'm saying that half jokingly, but like, there's the very opposite perspective of that, kasi like with CZ from Binance, he says, that 1 million tokens bloom. That is a frightening number of tokens, guys. Like 1 million, that is a lot of tokens. I don't think that the world needs that many tokens.
Yeah.
But the technology is so easy, kasi.
Right. And I think there is a period of discovery, and that's what we're going through. And part of that also is like, part of that discovery isn't just people making the tokens, but also the consumers to see what they actually want. And for a long time, I was like checking out every new thing, right? Like, from the early days to like as late as 2018. And then I just got overwhelmed. So I found that my time was better off spent learning other things.
Isn't that what bankers say? We haven't got time to learn about technology, so we'll just do what we've been doing for the last 6 years or whatever. You have to keep an eye on the technologies without having to keep an eye on everything that's created with the technology. So I think you do that, right?
I think there's a difference between focus and it's just I think Ramon is just talking about focus.
Yeah, focus.
Whereas with like the crypto industry has finally gotten to the point where it's too big to see everything, which is actually a good thing in a way.
Right.
So.
Yeah. Focus. So I mean, the things that interest me. I mean, I've focused on Bitcoin, but I've also started to study other non-technical stuff, from like economics. Like that has been super rewarding for me.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I actually think that the whole crypto industry was a backdoor way for everyone to become an economics major. Just like inadvertently, now we all have economics degrees.
And amazingly, it's not the economics you learn in school, right? So what makes it extra useful?
Yeah. I mean, it's practical. It's actually how kind of the underlying mechanism of the world actually works.
Yeah.
That's kind of what we became more and more interested.
The more you understand about other aspects of the world outside of crypto that you can then apply back to crypto, the better you are to actually use and explain it and not be thought an idiot when you start going on about Bitcoin.
Yeah. Right. Yes. No one will call you an idiot on this panel. But
yeah, I think what you said, Mark, is quite deep. Like that goes for any field. When you're able to break down the silos of knowledge between fields, like you can come up with completely new ways to solve problems. I mean, just imagine Bitcoin itself. Like, I don't think someone who was just familiar with cryptography would have been able to make it. Of course. They had to have understood economics, cryptography, game theory, all that stuff, right?
Yeah. Not to mention the actual nuts and bolts of the programming to build it.
Yes.
Which is probably why Satoshi is not one guy.
Yeah, I've definitely heard that theory. I know that he's not Craig, right? That's what I'm 100%
Everybody knows
sure
that.
Yeah. I'm not sure about the not one guy. I guess there's a part of me that wishes that he is like some super genius who just happened to be good at so many different fields. Like I should say, geez, yeah. So it's like he or she is a super genius who just happens to have world-class skills in so many different disciplines. That's hard to it's hard to fathom.
If they did, they would be employed somewhere and be a genius somewhere, noticeable. But and the temptation to never spend a million
Bitcoin.
Well, that person is pretty extraordinary.
Yeah. There's also the theory that it could have been Hal Finney, I guess, right? And the reason why he disappeared is because he passed away. Anyway, so
that's going into a different subject altogether.
Yeah, it's a very different subject. Okay, all right. Let's see. Do we have any comments in the Tony? Do we have any comments in the chat that I forgot to read out?
There were some earlier when we were discussing PayPal. So they were asking questions about if PayPal will be charging a high tax rate, if it'll support Bitcoin.
How does that actually work? Is it because PayPal? Because PayPal charges taxes when they.
Oh yeah, I think one way they easily get into countries is if they tell the tax authority of that country that will collect taxes for you.
PayPal operates in Philippines without a license, without an EMI license, but it's allowed to do what it's doing now, which it's annoying.
Yeah,
interesting.
Yeah,
I don't know the answer to that one because I think what we will find that out when PayPal actually comes out and makes a formal announcement. So let's not forget that the announcement's not official. It's just like insider sources. So it looks like it's a very high likelihood that it will happen. But
PayPal getting involved with cryptocurrencies and Bitcoin is unlikely because of the PayPal. Basically, it's a bank, and so they've got so much exposure out there that they can't afford really to mix the two.
Well, maybe they're gonna do because like Cash App was able to make it happen, right? And Cash App is currently only exists in US and UK markets, but if they were able to do it, and because Cash App announced that they had made $500 million in revenue but they had sold $500 million in Bitcoin last year through their Cash App. So now everyone is taking notice. And if you're a financial service provider with a wallet, they think that, now they finally think that, it might be worth integrating Bitcoin somehow.
Because it's so hard to work with the banking system. We have a good partner here with Union Bank, right, in the Philippines. They understand. But most banks abroad, as soon as you mention Bitcoin or crypto, they're like, no, we're not going to open your account. It's tough out there.
PayPal getting on it will make it more legitimize it even further, right?
Yeah, people will start buying it even if they don't necessarily understand what it is, just because it's not peso or it's not dollar, right? It's just like something else that you could potentially put your money.
Maybe we'll have a PayPal coin.
And
all that work for another coin. Okay.
I don't know. We didn't talk about this last week at all, right? This PayPal thing.
No.
Okay.
It came out the day after kasi, so we missed it.
Okay. But if you look at the original vision of PayPal, it is Bitcoin, essentially. They wanted like an unstoppable currency. When they sold it to eBay,
by the banking
changed.
system, so it lost its way.
Yeah.
When they sold to eBay, it changed completely. But that was the original vision. So when I saw that they wanted to support it, I was like, okay, that's funny.
It's like full circle. Elon Musk, right?
Elon Musk he's got a quarter of a Bitcoin, so it's not really.
How about Elon Musk as Satoshi?
No,
I don't think so. My opinion on that one is I don't think he has time. How would he have had the time to do that?
He has time to tweet a lot of what he's tweeting, so I don't know.
Actually, I don't know if that's really. Well, I guess that's probably him, no? Siguro naman. I don't think that's someone writing his tweets for him.
Those kinds of tweets,
yeah. Sorry, something that you said there just kind of reminded me that there was some comment in the chat that I wanted to read about SpaceX. So they're apparently IPOing, and I can't find the question anymore. There's a question about whether or not this would have an effect on the Bitcoin price, because I suppose most of your investors would be US based. I mean, they'd have to be US based, US company. And people would be liquidating in order to buy into SpaceX. So that's kind of a interesting.
No, I don't think so. Because people are liquidating other positions in other companies.
Right. Yeah. To buy into SpaceX.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Interesting. Okay. Wow. I have two more prizes to give away. We should probably get into that now while we still have time. Let me just shift into my raffle view. Okay, so our previous winner, Jan, she already messaged me in the chat, so I'll look for her again later. Okay, here we go, guys.
One of the comments on the Facebook's funny.
What was it? Oh, what? You can't do that.
What was that?
That's my soundboard. Like I've got a very sophisticated soundboard. So I have to pick another winner because you got the same one. Hold on. Okay, here we go.
What are the chances?
What are the chances?
1 in 20, 1 in 30.
Yeah. Ben with Villanueva. Oh, look at that. And his last comment was, I hope I win. There you go. It turns out that if you hope enough, hard enough, you will actually win. So let's write down his name there.
Before you do the next one, that
Yes.
comment was, I hate using PayPal when it comes to high volume sales. They quarantine your money longer than COVID-19.
Who was that?
That was
Henry James. Henry James, thank you for that comment. You actually genuinely made us laugh. That was a good one. I imagine that means that you've had your money frozen by PayPal. Okay. Actually, that was the other joke we were making, wasn't it, Mon? Now you can look forward to having your Bitcoin frozen by PayPal as well, not just your pesos and dollars.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Okay. So, I mean, bear that in mind, guys. If you are using PayPal, if you buy Bitcoin with your PayPal wallet, just be careful with it because they are really, really aggressive about like just freezing your funds whenever they want to. So, take that what you will. Okay, so in the chat, Boncho is saying, "Hope I'm the third winner." Okay, I don't think it works the same way anymore. Like anyway, we'll see. We'll see what happens. Last winner coming up now. Emmanuel and Anoria. Okay, I just saw. Oh, cool. All right. It's actually Ian Emmanuel. Congratulations, you are the third and final winner for the day. I'm just gonna write your name in the chat also. Thanks for joining. All of the people who have won, please make sure that you message Bloom so we can find you, and then we'll talk to you individually after the show, and then we'll send you your tether. Closing thoughts, guys. We had a pretty cool show today. I kind of like the tangent that we went on back there. Closing thoughts on any ERC20 stuff or anything else?
I just say that if you want to invest in anything, look deeply into it and don't invest in anything you don't understand.
Okay, good advice to close on. Just a reminder to everyone in the chat, we are answering questions from our friends, our partners, the audience. So please send us in your questions. If it's a big enough question, we'll do an entire show on it. And if it's a small question, what we might do is we might compile them into a short list, and then we'll do like lightning round. One of these episodes, we'll do like 5 or 6 questions back to back. Thanks so much for watching. Let's go say our goodbyes. Miko Ilas, where can people find more of you and your work on the internet?
So more on the Binance Filipino community, join us on Binance Filipino on Telegram. Also, we have Facebook page and groups. So just search Binance Filipino on Facebook, and you'll see both the page and the groups. Just join, like the page, join the group, and happy to have you there.
Thanks for joining us. Paulo Del Puerto of Moneybees, where can people find more of you and your work?
Yeah, you can follow us in our Facebook page and go to our website, right? If you want to buy and sell ETH, right? So we also have ETH. And yeah, you can visit our partner at Montreal Money Changer and Vinny's Canal in Mackenzie.
Nice.
So we're slowly opening up. Yeah.
Congrats on finally having a physical location again. I kind of missed that. Mark Vernon of Tag Cash. Mark Vernon, where can people find more of you?
At Mark Vernon on Telegram and tagcash.com.
Thanks so much for joining us tonight. Ramon Tayag, do you want to take us out?
Yeah, find out about what Bloom does at bloom.solutions.
Thanks so much, everyone. Stay tuned for the topic for next show. We'll be back on Tuesday. We will be out of lockdown for the first time. I guess we will probably still be in our living rooms, though. I will be willing to bet that much at least. So see you again here Tuesday at 6:30 p.m. Good night, everyone.